What's going on, gang? Man, that's a lot of blue, huh? But no time for videos today. Only time to go pick up the little dudes. I wanted to say thank you, first of all, for all the support. Your support, I'm not comfortable with this, by the way. Your support actually paid for a cheeseburger meal for my two boys, so thank you very much. If you decide not to support any longer, totally cool. Totally appreciate you guys. We're going to survive. But I did want to say thank you so much. While I didn't have time to do much filming and story weaving with that thing, I did have the pleasure of working on a old late 60s Hiwatt DR103 100 custom, or custom 100 rather. Kind of cool story. So the owner was walking around in the 90s in Hollywood, California, not Florida. And he wandered into the Guitar Center out there and stumbled across this Hiwatt head that was sitting on top of the matching cabinet. And on the back of the cabinet, it said Rod Stewart Band or something like that. He's like, I don't buy it. He's like, anybody can stencil something on there. So he asked the associate about it. The associate was like, we can't get it to work, but you could have it for $750. So he took it home that day. At the time, he was playing only Vox amps, and he had a 60s AC30 that he needed to get looked over. So he called his amp tech, told him about the Hiwatt, and he said, yeah, bring it over, I'll take a look at it. So when a guy saw it, he said, there's only one person I know that can get this thing running again, and his name is Doug Rocaforte. And if you were around in the 90s, back in the dial-up modem days, and the AOL and Hotmail email addresses before that was a spammy thing, then you know that name. So the guy said, but let me just warn you real quick. He's like, you need to have some thick skin before you call this guy up. And my client was like, well, why? And he said, well, he's a bit of a hermit, and he'll probably say something that offends you. He's just super dry, and he has no filter. So just know that when you call him up. So he took the guy's number, went home, called him up, left a message, and he said the answering machine was super dry and very nondescript, just like very like monotone. So a week later, Doug calls him back and said, here's my address, bring the amp over, and by the way, light on a cologne if you don't mind. So he brings the amp over, and Doug said, I'm gonna need to wrap my head around this, so just leave it over, and then I'll let you know what's up. So 2 weeks later, he gets a call back from Doug. He said, yeah, I got the amp up and running, but here's some cool stuff about it. He said it was purchased in England back in the late 60s. It was custom commissioned for some artist. It's got 512AX7 preamp tubes on it. It gets a lot more gainy than a typical DR103 would, especially lower on the volume, makes it super cool. The guy punched out the power cord entry and installed an IEC entry there, so you could just plug in a computer cable, which is super cool. Doug's like, you're not going to be able to run this thing here unless you have a converter. He's like, but I can put in a proper power transformer for you. You can keep the output transformer. And he said, go ahead and do it. So Doug did it while he was waiting. He happened to have a Mercury unit on hand, and swapped in a Mercury power transformer, and then he hardwired that for 120, and then the impedance selector for 16 ohms. And yeah, that's it. So super cool vintage amp. Super cool story from a super cool dude. So I don't even know if this is audible. Hope this finds you well. Thanks again. I'll weave in some clips as I'm doing this so you can see less of my tired, melty face. But again, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for stepping up to support the channel. This is only for you guys. I am not comfortable doing this. But thanks again, y'all. I hope this finds you well. You and yours. Bye.